This is Glow in the Dark Radio. The science fiction podcast, with original independent science fiction, written and performed by Mike Luoma, with music by Kevin MacLeod. The Vatican Assassin Trilogy and The Adventures of Alibi Jones by Mike Luoma are available in ebook, trade paperback, and audiobook wherever you find your books online. Get links and details at glowinthedarkradio.com. This is the Science Fiction Podcast, Glow in the Dark Radio. I'm your host, your writer and reader, Mike Luoma, and I've got Chapter 7 of Vatican Abdicator on the way. BC Bernard Campion may have abdicated as Pope, but he can't seem to escape being put in charge of stuff. The war between the UTZ, the Universal Trade Zone, and the UIN, the Universal Islamic Nation, just ended, as BC became de facto leader of Mars. Ibn al-Salid signed the declaration, putting BC in charge, so the Eldred would spare humankind on the Red Planet. So the decades-long Muslim-UTZ war ends as sort of a byproduct of BC's attempts to stave off annihilation by the Eldred. And it worked, at least for now. The Eldred backed off from attacking Mars, but word just came in that the ancient enemy Dolomay, who had been pretending to be human and leader of the UIN, word just came in he is raiding space stations for supplies in the ship he escaped from Mars in. And rumor has it, his ships are getting tuned up. They're a little more souped up than they used to be. So the war has shifted from UIN versus UTZ to humanity versus the Eldred and Dolomay. Though Dolomay may be the more immediate threat, as we get into Chapter 7 of Vatican Abdicator on this episode of Glow in the Dark Radio. In a little book news, in order to try to get some new readers, I'm going to make the Vatican Assassin 15th Anniversary Edition audiobook free for a limited time in select outlets. Audible doesn't play nice on this stuff, so it won't be free there, but it will be free in all or most other outlets. This is the 2020 Special Edition audiobook featuring special guest voices, in-character cameos, voice work from Scott Sigler, Veronica Jaguar, Keith Hughes, Paul E. Cooley, Starla Hutchton, John Miro, and Dave Robison. I just okayed the free pricing, so this will filter out over the next few weeks, and I'll keep you posted. And of course, just watch for it. You may see it pop up as free. Of course, I bring you the books free on the podcast, and we'll get into Chapter 7 of Vatican Abdicator next on Glow in the Dark Radio.
Wake up, go to work. Work. Come home. Eat dinner. Rot your brain out. Go to bed. Lather. Rinse. Repeat. Are you tired of an old humdrum life? Tired of things that just weigh you down and depress you? Wouldn't you rather just focus on things that are awesome? Tune into Nutty Bites. Find out what's awesome. Nutty Bites. nimlas.org/blog.
Now here's Chapter 7 of Vatican Abdicator on Glow in the Dark Radio. BC shuttle service. BC jokes with the pilot of his Stinger ship as he gets ready to disembark on Wentworth Station. Hope I haven't been too much trouble, me and all my friends. Not at all, sir. It's been a fun assignment for me. traveling out to the asteroids, to the moon, up here, all over the solar system, she says. And the Eldred have been quiet too, so that's been nice. She pauses, wondering about what she wants to say. She smiles as she decides, "Those scientists are real characters, aren't they, sir?" BC smiles. "They are." "That first leg of the trip with everyone on board was pretty noisy," she says. "Don't get me wrong, it was a fun noisy. I had fun. That Indian scientist, Dr. Krish, he knows a lot of stuff." "And he's all too willing to share his knowledge," BC cracks. "Dr. Dell seems like the quiet type, but when he talks, he's almost scary smart." The pilot again ponders her next statement. "Seems like you and Dr. Capatuna are kind of a couple, huh? That's nice if you ask me. Not that you did. I'm sorry. Is that bad?" "No, it's okay," BC admits. "I think we are. Kind of." "Yeah. Still, it was a lot quieter going back to Lunar Prime and then here. Are you okay, sir?" "Oh, I'm fine, Captain. Just not looking forward to these UTZ council meetings," BC explains his quiet mood. "They always bore me to tears. It takes forever to accomplish anything, so nothing really gets done." "Well, sir, much as I'd like to keep talking with you and give you an excuse to procrastinate longer before you get off the ship, I've got to get going. I'm sorry," she apologizes. "Not to worry. You've been a great pilot. Thank you." "Good luck with your meetings and with staying awake." "Thanks." BC notices some changes as he enters Wentworth Station. The isolation glass is gone. Wentworth himself is out walking in the open to greet BC as he arrives.
"Campion!"
"Wentworth, is that really you or is it one of your doubles?"
"It's me,"
he says. He comes up to BC to shake his hand. "All done worrying about the plague?" BC asks, surprised.
"We've stopped the current strain, BC. Good news,"
Wentworth exclaims.
"I wanted to break the news to you in person. We've stopped it, unless it mutates again. We're okay for now."
"Really? Ha! Well, that is some great news. Have you begun mass-producing the antidote?"
"It's not an antidote, more a vaccine," Wentworth says. "We've begun to mass-produce the vaccine. We've started inoculations here at our meeting."
"Making sure you and yours are safe first, of course, Wentworth." "Tell me about it in person." Right. Man, people never change, not even in the face of death or war. Damn, it doesn't bring out the best in us. So typical of Wentworth. Work together to find a cure that I can use first. Mbeke arrives for the meetings to represent the NCC. BC meets him at the station's port.
"Hello, BC."
Pope John Paul IV, how are you?" Mbeke smiles.
"I am well. Did you hear? The College of Cardinals has finally confirmed my papacy. I am officially the Pope now."
"You've been officially the Pope since I abdicated, Mbeke," BC insists. "I don't care what anyone else says."
"Thank you, BC. But it is nice to have their nod. Officially."
It takes a couple more days for Wentworth to pull the meetings together. Dolomay surfaces briefly. He and his crew hit 3 new targets, all isolated orbital stations. The news media identifies them as rogue UIN elements, after a UTZ spokesman calls them that in a press briefing. Like modern pirates, Dolomay and his crew descend on their targets and wreak havoc, grabbing supplies, kidnapping and killing, and usually destroying any other ships that happen to be docked. BC gets the news of their raids as he waits for the rest of the council to arrive on the station. Wentworth won't call the first meeting until all the UTZ council members arrive. BC waits 3 days before Wentworth finally makes a general announcement over the comm that they'll be starting the meetings the next morning. Council members are paged a half hour prior to their first meeting and instructed to assemble in the main hall. The first day is preliminary and boring. BC acquiesces to Wentworth for most of the formalities. BC only lets himself get bossy and heated when pressing for faster distribution of the vaccine. The details and logistics of distribution then occupy council business for most of the afternoon. The council breaks for dinner. BC sits at the council table after the other members have gone, massaging his temples and trying to stave off a headache. "I think my head's going to explode, and this has nothing to do with those other headaches." Bing! A small light glows in the tabletop in front of BC. Must be the comm. BC pushes the light. "Mr. Campion," the tabletop speaks. "Yes?" "Ms. Capatuna on the comm for you." "Put her through, thank you." "BC?" "Hey, Anita," BC answers. "What's up?" "Couple things. Dolomay just hit Mars," she informs him. "What?" BC can't believe it. Like he hasn't already done enough damage there. Just got the word from Salid, she says. We sent a couple ships to see what's up. That's good. Probably wise to keep patrols going around the clock where you are, too. We've got a couple ships out dodging rocks at all times. That's a no-brainer, Anita says, sounding insulted. Sorry, BC apologizes. What was the other thing, he asks her, trying to change the subject. Ceres. A series of what? Not Ceres. Ceres, the asteroid. First discovered, the largest? Gotcha, BC says, figuring it out. What about it? I think we should move some of our facilities there. Start building ships nearby. Ceres' size gives us room that we don't have here, she explains. We've been discussing options. What other options do we have? We could move the facilities to one of the project outposts. Crankshaft might be best suited for it. Rigel 4 is too small and too close to the Flays. Dimwit's too close to the Domo worlds. And Cat's Eye turned out to be too close to the Eldred. I think we're asking for trouble with the Eldred if we go outside of the solar system and start building ships, BC tells her. I don't want to provoke them, yet. Defend against them, sure, but not provoke them. Do you think your council would support this? We'll see. I'm sure we'll have to discuss it at length, over and over, BC sighs and rolls his eyes. Enjoying the council, are you? Anita says, with an evil chuckle. You betcha. At this rate, we'll be here for weeks. I was hoping for a couple days, but there's no way. Poor baby, BC. She laughs. Keep me informed, huh? Talk to you later. She signs off. The first week, the UTZ council meetings are occasionally interrupted by sporadic reports of attacks by Dolomay. His ship is spotted raiding sites on Earth as he gets bolder. Bolder still, the second week, Dolomay and his crew raid the UTZ shipyards, stealing a Transspace engine off the assembly line. BC and Wentworth leave the meetings to visit the shipyard and survey the damage. At least it's a break from the monotony.
Ceres, huh?
Wentworth asks. BC is filling him in on Anita's ideas as they travel.
You're bringing this up with the council?
Will you support it? Wentworth pauses, thinking. Well? BC prods when Wentworth doesn't answer.
I'll support it, why not? We should try to keep it secret, though, eh?
Try, of course, BC chuckles. The project is actually pretty good when it comes to secrecy. Wentworth smiles.
Indeed, but the council might not be. Let's just make this happen without subjecting it to endless discussion. Shall we?
I'm all for that. BC can't help his enthusiastic outburst. But can you do that? Wentworth actually laughs out loud.
That's what I do, BC. I make things happen.
Can you make these meetings happen any faster? I've been through tortures that were easier to take. Let me tell you, there was this one time,
One more week, probably,
Wentworth answers, interrupting BC.
If I know my UTZ council meetings.
The meetings do drag on for another week, but Dolomay is strangely silent, off the radar. No attack reports to break up the monotony. The Eldred remain drawn back, silent and aloof, while the UTZ council considers their demands. Wentworth and BC explain the stakes of the war, and the Eldred demand that humanity stay within the orbit of Jupiter. No Eldred ships appear during the 2 weeks of meetings. The UTZ Council agrees to reject the Eldred's demands and restrictions, but also agrees they'll keep the decision secret. They will offer no official response. They also decide not to acknowledge the existence of the Eldred, or the alien nature of Dolomay, or any other aliens to the general public. The UTZ spokespeople will continue to identify Dolomay's ship as a rogue UIN group. They see no need to tell the public about the Eldred attacks on Mars either. They officially dismiss Dolomay's allegations of alien collaboration as fantasy, the ravings of a madman. BC disagrees with the decisions, but lets the majority of the council have their way. In his final address to the council, he wonders aloud at how long they can fool the public and keep them in the dark. Anita calls BC from the Project Asteroid Base as the meetings end. We've got a problem, she tells him. Tell me about it, BC says. I've been on Wentworth Station for 2 weeks now. I'm getting stir-crazy. At least there have been no new attacks by Dolomay. Actually, Anita corrects him, that's the problem. I just heard from the Flays. The Domo called earlier today, too. Dolomay's out there, BC. He's hitting them now. They want to hit back, and they may not care to distinguish one rogue human crew from the rest of us.
Don't they know about the ancient enemy? Of course they do, but they're still pissed off. At us. They know it's a crew of humans following Dolomay's command. Don't they know he's controlling them? If they know about the ancient enemy? I don't know. They might regret shielding our development from the Eldred at this point. Their tone was kind of ominous, as if the Eldred were right, and we will turn into them. Maybe the question is whether we will become the ancient enemy, or, BC pauses for effect, whether we already are the ancient enemy, whether we like it or not. So now you're saying the Eldred are right? Anita snaps back at him. No, BC gets defensive. I'm saying they might be, but I don't think they are, just considering all possibilities. I was worried. Thought your brain might be turning to mush with all that exposure to bureaucrats, she jokes. The lights around BC turn red as an alarm begins to sound. Uh-oh. What's going on there? Anita asks. Don't know, BC admits, but I think I should go. But Anita is cut off as the comm switches over to an emergency channel.
Campion,
Wentworth calls over the comm.
come up to my station's command center. Dolomay is attacking a nearby station. We're scrambling ships.
Guess he's not out there anymore. I'll be right there. BC finds his way to the command center with the help of one of Wentworth's robot doubles.
Apogee Station.
Wentworth fills in BC as he arrives.
And Dolomay has 2 ships with transspace drives.
Great.
We've sent ships, but if he's got 2 ships, now they'll start hitting 2 places at once.
Not likely, BC disagrees. Dolomay needs to be near his crew members so he can keep them under his control.
Again, the mind control thing. You're sure that's for real?
Wentworth is still skeptical. I'm sure. You watch. Even if he adds ships, they'll work together. Unless he's more powerful than I think he is.
Well, that's good news, I guess.
2 minutes later, Wentworth gets reports back from Apogee Station.
They made short work of Apogee,
Wentworth says.
A supply raid, oxygen, food, cleaned the place out.
Damn. Did any of our ships get a chance to engage his?
No, he was in and out too quickly. But we're picking up survivors, the ones left.
What now? BC asks.
We're on red alert in case they come here next.
Any sign of them nearby?
No. It was Dolomay's first attack in a while. Guess they ran out of some supplies. Where do you suppose they're hiding out? Somewhere in the asteroids?
They haven't been hiding out, BC tells him. I just heard from Anita that the Domo and the Flays have been in touch. Evidently, Dolomay's been attacking them. He's been keeping busy, just away from us.
And these are the other aliens, right?
Right, our galactic neighbors, kind of. They kept the Eldred away from us way back when.
That's right, you've mentioned them before. What are they like?
I still haven't met them myself, BC tells Wentworth. According to the project scientists, the Domo are like vampires, and the Flays are like your traditional UFO-type aliens, putting it in basic terms.
I see. Should we care that Dolomay's hitting them?
Wentworth asks, arching an eyebrow.
Maybe we should encourage Dolomay to go after them. Keeps them away from us.
You're assuming the Flays and the Domo won't hit back?
Even better.
Wentworth smiles a sly smile.
Let them take Dolomay out.
Their aim might not be that narrowly focused, BC warns Wentworth. Don't assume that when they hit back, they'll only hit Dolomay.
What, all humans look alike?
Afraid so, BC tells him. Who knows? They are aliens, after all. There's no telling how they think. The alarms begin ringing out across the command center. Wentworth's crew scrambles to their posts.
What's going on?
Wentworth shouts out. Are they here? BC asks. Another attack, one of Wentworth's texts tells them. Down on Earth. They're blitzing the Stinger shipyard.
Do we have any visual feeds?
Wentworth asks. Several feeds appear on wall screens around the room. BC's eyes are drawn from screen to screen. Dolomay's 2 ships dart in and out of the picture. The ships are visibly altered, with added-on armaments and engines. A strategic graphic feed shows Dolomay's 2 ships as bright red dots darting around the screen. Never seen ships move like that before, one tech exclaims. Crazy maneuverability. Dolomay, BC says to Wentworth, souping up the ships with stolen equipment from the Flays and the Domo. Oh shit. The screens with camera feeds all suddenly glow with an intense white light, and then blink out. The strategic feed blips off with them.
What the fuck was that?
Wentworth asks in a low voice. Looks like a small nuke, sir, a tech tells Wentworth. A controlled burst. Never seen anything like it. Shit, BC says. He looks for a place to sit down and finds an empty chair in front of a screen showing a plan of the Stinger shipyard.
Get me an overhead view on that right now,
Wentworth commands. BC sees a satellite view appear on his screen, zooming in and zipping across blurry land below as it repositions over the shipyard. He has to look away as a wave of nauseous vertigo comes over him. He looks back as the screen stops moving. Smoke and clouds fill the picture. Switching to resonant imaging, a text says. The picture shifts from a simple video to a graphic display as a topographic representation of the ground below appears. The crater below. There is no more shipyard. First time anyone's used a nuke on Earth since Mecca was hit. Ruthless. BC realizes the room has been silent when Wentworth breaks the silence.
God damn, the man plays fucking hardball.
Wentworth shakes his head. Is that admiration in his voice? Wentworth looks over at BC.
Guess we'll be building our ships in the asteroids from now on, eh, Campion?
We should warn them out there that Dolomay's back, BC tells Wentworth.
Do it,
Wentworth tells the man in front of him.
And let's look alert, people. It could be coming here next.
That was Chapter 7 of Vatican Abdicator on Glow-in-the-Dark Radio. Dolomay just nuked the UTZ shipyard on Earth. First time in a long time anyone has used a nuke on Earth. And his ships, yes now ships, plural, are definitely souped up. Watching for Dolomay's next move and keeping an eye on the Eldred too. Things are heating up and getting a little more tense as we get into Chapter 8 of Vatican Abdicator on our next episode. And just a reminder that I am making the Vatican Assassin 15th Anniversary Edition audiobook free for a limited time. So keep your eyes open for that. That's the one with all the special voice cameos. And once I see it start to appear, I'll let you know about that again. That is all for this time. I'm your host, your writer and reader, Mike Luoma. Thank you again for listening to Glow-in-the-Dark Radio. Glow-in-the-Dark Radio. This podcast presentation is copyright 2023 by Michael F. Luoma and is protected under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives 4.0 International License, CC by NCND 4.0. Music by Kevin MacLeod. You can find his work at Incompetech.com. Mike's books are available in ebook, paperback, and audiobook, wherever you find books online. Get links and more details at glowinthedarkradio.com and mikeluoma.com. This has been a presentation of Glow in the Dark Radio.